Hello, viewers. I am Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal. Stand before you with a topic: Major Environmental Movements in India, Part 1. In this major environmental movements in India, Part 1, I will discuss two important environmental movements in India like Bishnoi movement and Chipko movement. This major environmental movements in India is found in +3 5th semester DSE-2 paper, and the name of the paper is Development Process and Social Movements in Contemporary India. But before I discuss major environmental movements in India, in part 1 video, I will discuss Bishnoi movement and Chipko movement. Before I start Bishnoi movement and Chipko movement, I want to inform my viewers that my channel name is @Dilip Kumar Pal 9375, where you will find videos of +2 level and +3 level. So far as +2 level is concerned, entire +2 courses of +2 second year is found in this video, political science. In this channel, entire +2 second year political science courses are found, both in English and ODI, and some videos of +2 first year are also found in this channel. And so far as +3 section is concerned, videos from +3 first semester to 6th semester political honors, videos from +3 first semester to 5th semester ethics and values, videos from +3 first semester to 2nd semester political and general elective, and some videos of environmental studies of +3 first semester is observed in this channel. So I request my viewers, maybe of +2 or +3, any video you want, any topic on any video you want, just write my name Dilip Kumar Pal and the name of the topic in Google or YouTube. You'll get videos in English and ODI. I've already told you, any video you will find in ODI, be sure its English version is there in the channel. Any video you will find in English, be sure its ODI version is also in the channel. Let us start. Major environmental movements in India, part 1 video, I'll discuss Bishnoi movement and Chipko movement. So first I will take off Bishnoi movement. But before we discuss what is a Bishnoi movement, I want to inform you meaning of environmental movement. What is an environmental movement? Then we will discuss Bishnoi environmental movement and Chipko environmental movement. So what is an environmental movement? Environmental movement or green movement or conservation movement aims to protect the natural world from human activities that cause harm. It has been originated in India in the beginning of 20th century. Following are major environmental movements in India. Before we discuss major environmental movements in India, I want to clear before my viewers about the meaning of environmental movement. So what is an environmental movement? Environmental movement or green movement or conservation movement is a movement to protect the natural world from human activities which cause it harm. Environmental movement or green movement or conservation movement aims to protect the natural world from human activities that cause harm. Environmental movement or green movement or conservation movement is a movement which aims to protect the natural world from human activities that cause harm to it. So, environmental movement or conservation movement or green movement is a movement which aims to protect the natural world from human activities that harm the natural environment. So the aim of the environmental movement or conservation movement or green movement is to protect the environment of the world from the human activities which harm it. And in India, environmental movements were started in the beginning of 20th century. In India, it has been originated in India in the beginning of 20th century. In India, environmental movements have been started in the beginning of 20th century. Following are major environmental movements in India. In India, there are many major movements, environmental movement. So in India, in major environmental movements in India, part 1, I will discuss Bishnoi movement and Chipko movement. So what is a Bishnoi movement? Bishnoi movement is a major environmental movement. What is a Bishnoi movement? The philosophy of Bishnoi movement in India is centered around deep reverence for nature, advocating for the protection of all living beings, and emphasizing living in harmony with the environment, primarily through practices like not to cutting down trees and actively safeguarding wildlife, essentially considering all creatures as having an equal right to life and resource. This philosophy is in brief Jiva Daya Palani, compassion towards all living beings. So, Bishnoi movement is an environmental movement in India. So, what is the philosophy or the idea of Bishnoi movement? The idea and philosophy of Bishnoi movement is that step must be taken. The idea or the philosophy of the Bishnoi movement is that in the environment, all living beings have equal right. All living beings will be given right to survive. So it emphasizes not to cut tree and not to hunt animals. It says Jiva Daya Palani means compassion towards all living beings. So the movement of Bishnoi, the philosophy of Bishnoi movement in India is centered around deep reverence for nature. It gives respect to nature. It gives respect to nature. Advocating for the protection of all living beings. It advocates for the protection of all living beings. And emphasizing living in harmony with the environment. It emphasizes that all should live in peace with the environment, primarily through practice like not cutting down trees and actively safeguarding wildlife, essentially considering all creatures as having an equal right to life and resources. This philosophy is in brief Jiva Daya Palani, compassion towards all living beings. So, Bishnoi movement is an environmental movement. The philosophy of Bishnoi movement is that all living beings have equal right in the environment. All living beings will have right to enjoy in the environment and in the world. So, steps will be taken not to cut tree and safeguard all living beings. It gives respect to the nature. It gives respect to the all living beings. This is the philosophy of Bishnoi movement. So the philosophy of Bishnoi movement is to protect the environment. Every living beings have the equal right to live in the environment. Every human being has the equal right to enjoy in the environment, to live in the environment. So steps will be taken not to cut trees. Steps will be taken to safeguard all animals. This is the philosophy of Bishnoi movement. Guru Jambaji, Jambhoji, Guru Jamboji was the founder of this sect, Bishnoi movement. laid down 29 principles that strongly emphasize environment, conservation and composition towards and compassion towards animals, including not cutting down trees and protecting wildlife. Bishnoi's belief trees and animals are vital to ecosystem and should be protected from those who try to harm them. So Guru Jamboji, Jambhoji, Guru Jamboji was the founder of this sect, SCCT, means this Bishnoi community, and laid down 29 principles for this Bishnoi community that strongly emphasize environmental conservation and compassion towards animals, including not cutting down trees and protecting wildlife. Bishnoi's belief trees and animals are vital to ecosystem and should be protected from those who try to harm them. So Guru Jamboji was the founder of this Bishnoi philosophy. And Guru Jamboji laid down 29 principles which relate with the conservation of environment, which speaks not to cut tree, which speaks not to harm animals. It speaks that both the trees and animals are an equal. Both trees and animals are equal importance to the environment. They are two sides of the ecosystem. So step must be taken to safeguard trees and animals from any harm towards them. This Bishnoi started a movement in 1730 against the decision of Maharaja. This Bishnoi people started a movement in 1730 against the decision of Maharaja Abhay Singh of Jodhpur, who ordered to cut Khejarli tree in Bishnoi dominant area for needed timber to construct his royal palace. So this Bishnoi community started its first movement to protect the environment in 1730 when Maharaja Abhay Singh of Jodhpur gave order to cut Khejarli, Khejarli, Khejarli trees from Bishnoi dominant community for timbers, woods, for the construction of his new palace. When representatives of Maharaja Giridhar Bandhari arrived in Khejarli village to fell down the tree on 11 September 1730, Amrita Devi along with her three daughters who are Bishnois and other Bishnois of nearby Bishnoi village attempted to prevent soldiers from cutting down trees by hugging them. So when Maharaja Abhay Singh of Jodhpur ordered his people to cut Khejarli trees from Khejarli village for timbers for the construction of his new royal palace, at the time Bishnoi people of Bishnoi community objected, and he gave order in 1730. And when he gave order to cut trees, Khejarli tree from Khejarli village where Bishnoi communities are found, at the time Bishnoi people opposed it. And when the representative of Maharaja Giridhar Bandhari arrived in Khejarli village to cut tree on 11 September 1730, Amrita Devi and another lady, Amrita Devi, Bishnoi lady, and her three daughters, along with Bishnois of nearby village, attempted to prevent soldiers from cutting trees by hugging them, by HUGI, hugging means by embarrassing trees. Soldiers ignored the residents' plea. Soldiers ignored the protests of Bishnoi people, and 363 Bishnois were killed, including Amrita Devi, her 3 daughters. So when Amrita Devi, her 3 daughters, and people of Bishnoi community protested against soldiers to cut tree, soldiers did not care them, and these Bishnoi people, they hug the tree or cling the tree or embrace the tree. They did not allow soldiers to cut tree. As a consequence of it, 363 Bishnois were killed, including Amrita Devi, her 3 daughters. When Maharaja learned the massacre, when Maharaja Abhay Singh of Jodhpur came to know about that, he immediately ordered cutting down operation to be halted. He immediately ordered to stop cutting down tree, and apologized for the deaths, and he became very sorry for the murder. Then the king issued an order prohibiting cutting of trees and hunting animals within or around all Bishnoi village. So immediately King Abhay Singh gave an order that henceforward trees will not be cut and animals will not be hunted in and around Bishnoi dominated area. To honor the legacy of Bishnoi's sacrifices, Government of India established Amrita Devi Wildlife Protection Award in 2000. So in order to honor the sacrifice of Amrita Devi, her 3 daughters, and people who sacrificed their life for the sake of protection of environment, Government of India in 2000 established Amrita Devi Wildlife Protection Award, and 11th September was designated as National Forest Martyrs Day in 2013, and from that time 11th September was designated as National Forest Martyrs Day. So the first environmental movement, a major environmental movement which was held in India was the Bishnoi environmental movement. Second one is the Chipko movement. So what is the Chipko movement? This movement was officially started by Chandi Prasad Bhatta and Sundarlal Bahuguna. This Chipko movement was officially started by Chandi Prasad Bhatta and Sundarlal Bahuguna. It was primarily led by local women. It was also led by local women. The Chipko movement has come from the word Chipko, means to cling or to embrace or to hug trees from cutting down. So Chipko movement was being led by Chandi Prasad. This movement was officially started by Chandi Prasad Bhatta and Sundarlal Bahuguna. It was primarily led by local women. The Chipko movement came from the word Chipko, means to cling or hug trees from cutting. This movement was started in the Himalayan foothills of Uttarakhand, then part of Uttar Pradesh. It was started in Uttarakhand, which was a part of Uttar Pradesh previously. So what was this Chipko movement? The movement was started when Forest Department, the movement was started when Forest Department of Uttarakhand turned down request of local people for 10 ash tree per year to prepare agricultural tools, but sanctioned 300 ash tree to Simon Company to manufacture tennis rackets. When this movement was started, so Chipko movement was officially started by Sundarlal Bahuguna and Chandi Prasad Bhatta. This Chipko movement was led by local women. So what this Chipko movement was? This Chipko movement has come from the word Chipko, means to cling or to hug trees from cutting. This movement was started in the Himalayan foothills of Uttarakhand. Previously it was part of Uttar Pradesh. So when this movement was started? The movement was started when Forest Department of Uttarakhand turned down request of local people for 10 ash tree per year to prepare agricultural tools, but sanctioned 300 ash tree to Simon Company to manufacture tennis rackets. When this movement was started, the Forest Department of Uttarakhand rejected the demand of local people for 10 ash tree. It is a type of tree, 10 ash tree to manufacture agricultural tools. The Forest Department of Uttarakhand rejected the demand of local people to sanction 10 ash tree per year to prepare agricultural tools. But it sanctioned 300 ash trees to Simon Company to manufacture tennis rackets. So, in March 1973, lumberman, Lumberman, lumberman means tree cutter, arrived in Gopeshwar village to cut tree. So, when the Forest Department sanctioned 300 ash trees to Simon Company to manufacture tennis rackets. So, the lumbermen or tree cutters arrived in Gopeshwar village to cut tree. On 24th April 1973, there was a confrontation between tree cutters and 100 of villagers, and villagers gave them slogan to stop cutting tree. So when Forest Department of Uttarakhand sanctioned 300 ash tree per year to Simon Company to manufacture tennis rackets, after that the tree cutters or lumbermen arrived in Gopeshwar village to cut that tree. But immediately the local people objected. So on 24th April 1973, there was a confrontation between tree cutters and hundreds of villagers. And villagers gave a slogan to stop cutting tree. Villagers didn't allow tree cutters to cut tree. They gave slogan to stop cutting tree. This was the first confrontation, and the contract was cancelled by the government. When villagers opposed tree cutters to cut tree, the government cancelled the contract. So this is the first movement. Again, a few months later, again the government announced an auction in January 1974 for 2,500 trees near Rainy village. Again, after some days, after some months, again government sanctioned an auction in January 1974 for 2,500 trees near Rani village. When the contract of the government to give ash tree to Simon Company was cancelled, again after a few months, government announced again to auction 2,500 trees near Rainy village in January 1974. So again government in January 1974 made an auction to give 2,500 trees near Rainy village. Again protests were made by hogging trees by people. Again protests were made by local villagers by embracing tree. Gora Devi led 27 of the village women. Gora Devi, a woman, led 27 village women to protest by hogging trees from being felled. So Gora Devi, with the help of 27 local women, they did not allow to cut the tree and they hog the tree. About it, when news spread to other areas, more and more women joined, more and more people joined the movement, and finally the contract left. When government decided to auction 2,500 trees to cut in January 1974, again a protest was made on the leadership of Gora Devi. Gora Devi and 27 women hogged the tree. They did not allow tree cutters to cut the tree. So again the government cancelled the contract. It is estimated that between 1972 to 1979, it is estimated that from 1972 to 1979, more than 150 villages were involved in Chipko movement. In 1972 to 1979, more than 150 villages were involved in Chipko movement, resulting 12 major protests and minor clashes from 1972 to 1979. 150 villages were involved in the Chipko movement, and there were 12 major confrontations and some minor confrontations. Major success of the movement was when Bahuguna appealed to then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. 15-year ban on commercial felling of tree in Uttarakhand was made. But the nice result came at that time when Sundarlal Bahuguna appealed to then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi about the cutting of trees in Uttarakhand. So a decision was taken not to cut trees in Uttarakhand for 15 years. So the Chipko movement had 6 major demands. 6 demands of Chipko movement. Chipko movement has 6 major demands. Number 1, banning cutting trees for profit. First demand is not to cut tree for profit. Banning cutting trees for profit. Not to it. First demand is banning cutting trees for profit. Not to cut tree for profit. Number 2, forest dwellers will be given right to use forest for their livelihood. Forest dwellers, or those who are living in the forest, they will be given right to use forest for their livelihood. Forest dwellers will be given right to use forest for their livelihood. Those who are living in forests, they are known as forest dwellers. They will be given right to use forest for their livelihood, for their existence. Number 3, greening dry land. Efforts would be made greening dry land or plantation in the dry land. So again, forest will be created and there will be balance in the environment. Number 4, establish village committee to manage forest. Village committee will be established to manage forest. 5th, establish small scale industries that utilize raw materials from forest like leaves, wood and fruits. Establish small scale industries that utilize materials from forest like leaves, woods, fruits. Another demand was to establish small scale industries that can utilize raw material from forests like leaves, wood, fruits. Finally, at the time of afforestation, plantation, local trees will be given preference because they suit the climate. At the time of plantation, local trees will be given preference because they can suit the climate. They are climate friendly. So in this video, I have discussed Bishnoi movement and Chipko movement. So I request my viewers to subscribe the channel if you have not subscribed, and aware of your friends of +2 and +3 about this channel, so some students will be benefited. Remember, by giving help to anybody, you will not have any loss. To give help to anybody is a symptom of a human being. I expect this much from viewers. Thank you. Have a good day.